Prabhupada, Krishna is more happy. Okay? So everyone can attend to take their two provinces can sit down. Who sit? Because Murari Madhav that's what it is. That chat.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes.
Not getting any response. Was it?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you, Maharaj.
Okay, I'm going to share a screen. That's okay. Oops, what happened to it? Oh no. Just a minute.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna Prastable to the Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Natinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachalane Nirvishesha Shunya Bhari Gustatadesha Taran Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sri Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Maharaj, you may want to adjust your video a little bit. We are seeing only half. If it is okay.
I'm trying to get my
Otherwise
share
it's okay.
screen working here. Just a minute.
Thank you, Maharaj. I just got 1 minute quick introduction. His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj, senior disciple of Sri Prabhupada, is the author of many wonderful books of our previous Acharya, as Sri Prabhupada's desire. Maharaj is still translating many books even now. So, is also authority on the deity worship. If you have any questions on deity worship, you can ask Maharaj. So, fortunate to have Maharaj Association today.
Okay, Maharaj.
Hear from him. Thank you, Maharaj.
Just a minute. Oh, get this up.
We were no Zoom share screening at all? Yes.
It's not moving, right? This is not moving so that I can.
Yes. I'll make that so that you can see them. And
I don't need to see my insurance. This is what you can see. It's not moving, that's why I can click on the bottom. It's the bottom part. Yes. Hare Krishna. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Maharaj. You can see it now.
Okay, fine. Okay. So you requested something on Srila Prabhupada. So
Yes. Please go ahead.
we can all speak about Prabhupada. There's so many stories about Prabhupada's life. That's fine. From that, we can get a little bit of understand a little bit of his personality. But the important thing is that Srila Prabhupada was the founder of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and somehow or other, his position has to be made prominent at all times. This becomes a problem not only for ISKCON, but any society or any movement. And you notice there's many spiritual movements. Many were very popular when Prabhupada was around. We had transcendental meditation, we had other different yogis, different societies. After their disappearance, the movement tends to disappear. So fortunately, after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, ISKCON did not disappear, and it's continued. Not only has continued, it's expanded. We often talk about when Prabhupada was alive, there were 108 temples. But that seems like a little small number nowadays, because even in India, there's more than 100 temples. So around the world, we have so many temples. And of course, we've expanded in so many other ways. So definitely, ISKCON has continued. But at the same time, we have to make sure that the ideas of Srila Prabhupada and how he wanted ISKCON to function and how it should propagate and spread should be fixed in everybody's mind. So in other words, we have to not remember Srila Prabhupada, but we have to remember what he was preaching and how he wanted this movement to go on. So that's basically, we have to think of Prabhupada's position. So yes, Prabhupada is he's called the founder Acharya. Prabhupada himself made that name. And he insisted that everyone put that particular name, founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on their, letterhead and all the documents. So it gives a unique position to Srila Prabhupada. He's not only the founder, but he is the Acharya. And this is for the whole of ISKCON, for as long as ISKCON exists. So he has a position. With Srila Prabhupada's presence, all the devotees were his devotees. They took initiation from him. So he was their Diksha Guru and their Shiksha Guru. After his disappearance, then we don't have immediate Diksha disciples. Other people take up the role, other devotees take up the role of initiating, etc. And at the same time, we do have to maintain a relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And of course, some people used to preach that if you want to get to Srila Prabhupada, you have to go through the present Diksha Guru, whoever your Guru is. So that was prominently propagated many years ago. Just like if we want to approach Krishna, we have to go through all the acharyas up to Rupa Goswami, and then we can go to Manjaris and Gopis and Radha, and then we get to Krishna. So similarly, even to get to Srila Prabhupada, you have to go through your spiritual master, whoever he is. So that was preached at one time. Not so prominent now, perhaps, but still the idea is there, because the guru from whom we take initiation gets prominent worship. And of course, it's natural because he is living, and a living person gets more influence on a person than someone who is not present. It's not automatic. And that is usually the problem with all movements, not just spiritual movements, even material movements, businesses, etc. The founder is there when he's there, then he inspires the company. Later on, when he passes away, somebody else takes over or a group takes over. It's not the same in one sense because his personal presence was an inspiration for them. He's not there. They got somebody else who's not so inspiring, etc. So the personal presence definitely is there. So if you have a personal relationship with your guru, that becomes stronger than the relationship with Srila Prabhupada. In one sense, we say it's natural. But we can never eclipse the fact that Srila Prabhupada is the central person of the movement, and we have to establish a relationship with him. So it's not necessary we have to go through somebody to get to Srila Prabhupada. Everybody has a direct relationship with Srila Prabhupada, however they want to take that relationship. We don't say Diksha, otherwise that becomes ritual philosophy. But obviously we take Shiksha. All the books are Srila Prabhupada's books. And not only that, we worship Srila Prabhupada every day in Vyas Puja. So we have a direct relationship with him, so somehow or other. And it's up to us to make that relationship living and unique. So if we do that, there are several benefits. And if we don't do that, there's a lot of disadvantages or problems that may come up. So Prabhupada was present, Prabhupada disappeared, then other people, other devotees took over the role of Diksha and Shiksha. So we have Diksha and Shiksha gurus. And they're, of course, passing on the teachings that were established by Srila Prabhupada, who's passing on the teachings of the Goswamis and Krishna to us and Lord Chaitanya. So this is how it goes on into the future also. So there'll be disciples of disciples of disciples of disciples in the future who are the Diksha gurus and the Shiksha gurus. But still, somehow they have to maintain a relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And of course, apart from that, we do have scriptures and stuff. We have the holy name. And they're all a nice influence on the particular jiva. So the GBC itself realized many years ago that one of the problems for the continuation of ISKCON was eclipsing the role of Srila Prabhupada because of the more prominent role of the present gurus. And I recognize that as a problem. So we did many things, did research, made statements, etc. So in one of the statements, we say Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all members of ISKCON. So you may have many teachers, but ultimately we go back to Srila Prabhupada and take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And one of the statements of the GBC, all members of ISKCON are entitled and encouraged to have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada through his books, teachings, service, and his ISKCON society. So look, that's natural anyway. Everybody reads Srila Prabhupada's books, that way we have a relationship. However, one devotee pointed out, apart from this, we also have a relationship with Prabhupada, not just through his books or teachings or service or his society, we also have a direct relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Everybody has a direct relationship. And that's actually the meaning of the founder Acharya. He's the founder Acharya for all time and the future. So we have some sort of relationship there, which apart from the books of the society, etc. So we can establish that relationship with Srila Prabhupada by our own feelings or emotions, etc. So, a statement also of the GBC. The primary duty of all Diksha Gurus, Shiksha Gurus, and others in leadership positions is to assist Srila Prabhupada in his service to the Brahmana. So, all in the future, then, while we take all of the different gurus and in their minds, they should be acting simply as assistants to Srila Prabhupada in his service, rather than be simply the leader of some devotees, separate from that idea of connecting with Srila Prabhupada. So somehow it should all connect with Srila Prabhupada. So the Diksha Guru, of course, in ISKCON has become very prominent. That has become a problem also in many cases. Some gurus fall down, and then the disciples are disturbed. We have many Diksha Gurus, so then the disciples tend to group with their guru, and therefore we get separate little groups within ISKCON of different under the disciples of different gurus. So we get the guru groupism, etc. So this is also a problem, and that leads to division. That's a Diksha Guru. Apart from that, of course, we have the Shiksha Gurus who give spiritual instruction on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and the Parampara. So Shiksha is important, if not more important, than the Diksha. When we see Srila Prabhupada, he spent most of his time writing books. So why books? Because the books will continue in the future. The teachings will be there. So teachings are very important to hand on. The Diksha Guru may do that, but other persons also can do that. It's not that the Diksha Guru is especially empowered simply to teach, and others can't. Everybody can teach. If we have knowledge of scripture, we can pass that on, and we become Shiksha. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that the Shiksha Guru and the Diksha Guru are one, and they should be given equal respect. So, of course, the question will come up, what's the difference between a Shiksha Guru and a Diksha Guru? And it's not quite clear in most devotees' minds. But what is Diksha himself? And when do we get Diksha? At first initiation or second initiation, or when later on? When does Diksha take place? Before? What is Diksha? So, of course, in ISKCON, it's a rather vague term. It includes a lot of things. If we go to scripture, it is very precise and it is very limited what Diksha is. It's giving a secret mantra for deep worshiping the deity. Basically, that's what it is. That's what Diksha is in the technical sense. Okay, if people want to worship deities, fine, they can take Diksha. That guru may also give Shiksha, but he may not. Even if we get the Diksha mantra from the Diksha Guru, we still need Shiksha. Very important. That's why we have books. So, who can give the Shiksha? That would be a Shiksha Guru. Somebody acts as a Shiksha Guru. So in that sense, the Shiksha is more important even. If you're going to do deity worship, fine, you take Diksha. If you're going to just preach, fine, take Shiksha. So the Shiksha Guru is more important in that sense. To get the Shiksha, you don't have to take a Diksha. Take a Shiksha Guru, finish. So in ISKCON, unfortunately, the emphasis is being on Diksha and taking a Diksha Guru, and then the Shiksha Guru gets sidelined. But scripture itself says they're equal and actually one, and respect is equal to get equal respect. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, if you look at the Parampara trace, which is the same one that Bhaktisiddhanta traces, it's not a Diksha Parampara at all. Our teaching, we don't connect with the Sampradaya by Diksha. We connect by Shiksha. It's a Shiksha Parampara that he traces. In this sense, he's emphasizing Shiksha over Diksha. In one place, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that Harinam Shikshata, to be trained in the teachings and the practice of chanting the holy name, is better than being Dikshita, getting your Diksha mantra. Spirit. He also said, not necessary to take Diksha. You rely simply on the holy name and you get all perfection. That's where's Jagannath Gorkishwardas Babaji also said the same thing. So unfortunately, we have too much emphasis on the Diksha. The other point, of course, is that Harinam is our most important principle, more than deity worship. So that's what we should emphasize. But to do properly and to come to the level of Sudanam, we need knowledge. We need scripture. We need instruction. We need Shiksha Guru. So it's not we don't need any Guru for holy name. It is independent of Diksha, but we do need at least Shiksha. So we should kind of carefully understand and differentiate between Shiksha and Diksha. And if we go by scripture, Diksha means to get the mantra by which you can worship the deity, which we get a second initiation. Yeah. And of course, through that, we get a connection with the Diksha Parampara. We get a connection with Archana Parampara. But that's not our main activity. Our main activity is Harinam. So we realize that something else would be more important, chanting the holy name and getting instructions on chanting. That's even more important than getting to the Diksha. So are the gurus liberated? Are they in prema or whatever? So Prabhupada says, yes, they're on the liberated platform, and therefore they're pure devotees. Though they may not actually be liberated. So what does that mean? It's something like in Bhagavad Gita, we have the verse that by practicing bhakti, then you're beyond the gunas. And the practice of bhakti. Yeah, because bhakti is Swarup Shakti of Krishna, so the spiritual world. So when you practice it, obviously, it's non-material. Still, we may have unartists. That's there. Yeah. So to carry out the function of teaching and of giving diksha, etc., yes, we're practicing bhakti. In that sense, we're on the liberated stage. We're doing something which is part of bhakti yoga, which is Swarup Shakti of Krishna. But we may not be liberated literally. May not be in prema. So that we should carefully understand also. Prema, very rare. Bhava, rare also. Sadhana is common. So most of the devotees are going to be in the sadhana stage rather than the bhava or prema stage. And in fact, those in prema generally will not initiate because they see no necessity, because everybody's a pure devotee. They see everything as serving Krishna, even the trees and the water and the flowers and the sun and the moon are serving Krishna and prema. So why we have to initiate anybody? So that's what a prema bhakta does. We see Lord Chaitanya in Puri in ecstasy. He would see the sand dunes. He used to go over down here and enter into the pastimes. So that's what the prema bhakta does. He's not interested in looking at the material world anymore. He sees everything as spiritual world. Anyway, the prema bhakta are very rare, and we may not even recognize him, and he may not even initiate. So therefore, we have to generally the gurus are going to be on a lower level than that, and they're teaching. So because they are teaching and functioning for the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, yes, we have to give proper respect to them. So in that sense, we give respect to all devotees, and especially to according to their level of advancement. Also, we will give respect those who are just starting 1 month or 1 year. Okay, we can give respect at least mentally, and even all respect because they're serious. But if they're practicing a long time, and they've advanced sufficiently, then we give more respect. It's obvious. The more advanced the person is, the more respect we give, the more honor we give. So that's also a principle. Unfortunately, we have in scripture is Guru is non-different from Krishna. And therefore you have to worship like God. So we take that as an example, then every Diksha Guru becomes like God for the disciple. And not only like God, on the highest level. In one sense, okay. But at the same time, we have to consider that practically speaking, we're sadhakas on different levels. That's how we're not on that highest level primarily. So it's a bit artificial to do that also. So as I said, there's levels of worship. And therefore, we have to worship according to the level of the person. So we have to judge carefully. And of course, you can rely on somebody else, but they may also not tell you the truth. It's like that. So you have to be practical your own. You have to have your own experience and your own judgment. That's even to accept a guru. You have to use your own judgment ultimately. But to use your judgment, if you have knowledge, some knowledge of scripture, then you can make a better judgment. So part of it is knowledge. If we have more knowledge of the different levels of advancement, there are symptoms in different stages. Symptoms of bhava, symptoms of prema, symptoms of sadhana, symptoms of nishta, symptoms of ruchi, etc. There's all different symptoms. So based on that, we can judge. So we go in that sense, or you also offensive to judge the guru and we all just accept him as on the highest level. No, that's going to cause a lot of problems if we do that also. When the gurus fall down, then there's a big devastation because the person who's supposed to be praying bhakta isn't. So the devotional service becomes like useless or something. So we have to be a little practical also, applying this principle of worshiping guru like God. Yes, we can, but there's levels. And similarly, yes, he's like God, but if we do that, then automatically everybody else becomes less, which means Prabhupada also becomes less. So Prabhupada is supposed to be the founder acharya of the whole head of the spiritual head. But because of the idea that Diksha Guru is like God, the Diksha Guru takes that position, and Srila Prabhupada is put in some other position, secondary position. But that's problematic. So, of course, Lord Chaitanya said, by my order, you may become a spiritual master. One can immediately become a spiritual master by having full faith in the transcendental words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by following his instructions. This, of course, we can apply to Diksha Guru, but actually it's more shiksha. But this is what we call spiritual master. Anybody can be a spiritual master if they teach about Krishna with full faith and with good knowledge. Of course, what is a pure devotee? That's a general term, and even the person doing sadhana bhakti is practicing uttama bhakti, pure bhakti. So he's a pure devotee in one sense, even if he's at first year, practicing for 1 year, he can be called pure devotee. He's practicing according to the definition given by Rupa Goswami on the Abhilasha Shunya. So yes, pure devotee. The guru is a pure devotee, but he could be in many levels. He could be sadhaka, he could be bhava. And that applies to shiksha or diksha guru. So yes, they're all pure because they're practicing pure bhakti. So and in our movement, then we have many diksha gurus, but it also means that these diksha gurus are under an authority because they're within ISKCON. So Prabhupada established the authority as the GBC. We may not like that, but that's what Prabhupada established. Governing Body Commission. They're the final authority. So everybody acts under them, even the gurus. There is the idea, okay, guru, where in scripture talks about being under a GBC? Guru is independent. True, ideally, yes. What if you have a society? No. You act within the rules of society. If society doesn't have a GBC, fine, you may be the head. You may become the head person in that movement as a guru. But if there's another head of the GBC, then you have to act under that. Okay, so anyway, we have devotees and they accept Diksha Guru, mainly for deity worship. If we take the strict definition, they get shiksha from other devotees, accept Shiksha Guru. very valuable for them so they can advance in chanting Hare Krishna. And then we have the influence of Srila Prabhupada himself. So we got all these influences, and we should never neglect any of them. But as Srila Prabhupada is the founder of Jaya, and he's in a much higher spiritual position, we do have to put special emphasis on respect for Srila Prabhupada. So all the influences are there, all the inspirations are there from different devotees, Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus. But nevertheless, we do have to emphasize Srila Prabhupada's influence on everybody. If we examine the 7 principles of ISKCON, and when Prabhupada first established the movement, we can get an understanding of what Srila Prabhupada wanted. We can respect the position of Srila Prabhupada and worship him nicely, but the real worship and respect for Srila Prabhupada is to follow his orders and try to understand his intentions, and then act according to that. When Prabhupada was writing a vast puja for Bhaktisiddhanta after he disappeared, in one of his offerings, he says, "What is the use of all these flowers and fruit?" Because, of course, naturally we like to decorate nicely and put fruits and flowers everywhere, and call that vast puja. Okay, so in one sense, it's okay. It's scriptural to do that. But Prabhupada was disappointed because the people in the Gaudiya Math were not following Bhaktisiddhanta's instructions. They were not expanding the movement. They divided the movement up into different groups with different gurus, and that was it. They didn't keep them united. They didn't expand the movement. So I said, what is the use of all of this? So in other words, follow the intentions and instructions of Srila Prabhupada. That's very, very important. Right? So Prabhupada established the movement, then he has 7 purposes. So if we examine those, we can get a little inspiration. And if we follow those, we're following Prabhupada's instructions also. So one is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and achieve real unity and peace in the world. So, in other words, we want to spread spiritual knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And we can do it in preaching. We can find many, many different methods of doing that. So in the beginning of the movement, what was their method? They go out and do kirtan with the trumpet kartal in America. Harinam kirtan. Then they discovered books, Prabhupada translated Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam. So we had all these books and big piles of books everywhere. What to do with them? So they began distributing books. So that's another way of preaching, through the books, how we spread the knowledge through these different ways. With COVID, then nobody could go out, nobody could distribute books normally. But then they found you can preach on internet. So this is another way in which we can preach. Preach through electronic media in the modern world, and people have done it with great success. So there's many ways in which we can spread the movement. So this is one of the things. Of course, let's say the principle here is, if we're going to spread the movement, we should know what the philosophy is. We should have some knowledge ourselves about what we're preaching and to spread the right message. The second principle is to propagate a consciousness of Krishna, God, as revealed in the great scriptures of India, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada did put an emphasis on the books. Of course, the books were the things that came out of the Bhaktivedanta book trust, the actual books. Now we have e-books. Still they're books, and you can distribute those books also. So, but anyway, the idea is we preach and we're giving out scriptural knowledge, not concocted knowledge from our own mind. The knowledge has to be based on the authority of the scriptures. Distribute the books. The third goal of the society is to bring members of society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, thus developing the idea within the members of humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. So the society is here to unite its members, those who have a belief in Krishna. Somehow we have to cultivate the people within the movement and establish a strong unity within those people themselves. Another goal of Srila Prabhupada. This is actually a very wise goal. Not just to spread the movement everywhere, but to create internal unity within the movement by cultivating devotees in the movement, taking care of the spiritual life. Now we have programs like devotee care. So these help to cultivate the devotees within the movement and keep them united. Another goal, to teach and encourage Sankirtan in the movement, congregational chanting the holy name of God as revealed in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya's message was Nam Sankirtan is the Yuga Dharma. So this is our main process for spiritual advancement. So we encourage the individuals to chant, and then we also encourage the groups to do kirtan together. And so we cultivate internally, we develop a taste for Krishna by chanting his name, japa every day. And we preached and spread to everyone by doing Nam Sankirtan, as Lord Chaitanya did at his time. He and the devotees would go out every day in kirtan, and this way they would spread the movement to other people. So we have kirtan, Sankirtan, as a method of spiritual development for us, and emphatically emphasized. To erect for members and society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna. That means establish temples. The society should establish temples. What was the temple for? People can come, see the Lord, and worship the Lord. That's one purpose. So for the public, people, and this way, it's an opportunity to give inspiration to the people in general, the preaching. And also, if we have the temple, the devotees who are in the temple, it gives them shelter. And through that temple, we can establish so many types of devotee care programs, etc. So the temple is something for the devotees and something for the preaching, the outreach preaching. Steps in a temple. Another point, to bring members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler or natural way of life. So we may develop rural projects. Many temples of Buddhists around the world establish farms and whatnot, goshalas, etc. Modern world, of course, is the opposite. It's all cities, and cities become very complex, also very polluted, and the environment itself is either rajasic or tamasic, so not very favorable for spiritual lives. And we put an emphasis upon a more natural type of living, natural environment through some rural projects, etc. Another goal of Srila Prabhupada. So these are some of the goals. And then we have publications with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes to publish, distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. Of course, this actually was put into a separate trust, that is the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. They're the ones that publish the books, most of the books anyway. And then there's ISKCON Society, which distributes the books to the people. So in any case, there's again the idea of publishing and distributing books, etc. So these are the principles that Srila Prabhupada established. And if we meditate on this, how we can participate in these different principles that Srila Prabhupada established, then we're following his instructions. We're fulfilling his desire. And in that way, we're establishing a relationship with Srila Prabhupada and pleasing Srila Prabhupada. And in this way, we also keep the movement together and keep Prabhupada as the founder of Acharya. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Amurdana Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Maharaj. As always, it's very enlightening. Maharaj, my question is more on the practical application of accepting Srila Prabhupada as the preeminent Shiksha Guru. Now in ISKCON, there is the culture, so much so that even when we greet each other, or even when we are on the telephone or emails or any internet medium, we always start with Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisance, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. And over a period of time, this has become mechanical, like a chanting. There is no feeling, or there is, Maharaj, in my case at least, there is no feeling, or there is no, it's just like how a parrot could be taught to say. So the first question is, Maharaj, how do we not let it become mechanical? All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Prabhupada.
Yeah.
How do we do
Well,
that, Maharaj?
it's not just saying the name of Srila Prabhupada or all glories to Srila Prabhupada. It's anything, as you said, the chanting. It can be the deity worship. Deity worship also can become the same thing. Anything we do can become mechanical and whatnot. That's always a danger in anything we do in this material world. Now, of course, these are spiritual activities, but because we have a material mentality, we tend to bring it down to a material level. And so any act of bhakti, whatever it is, reading or worshiping or chanting or saying Prabhupada's name or whatever, it all can become mechanical and thus materialized. So it is true that bhakti itself and sadhana is defined as engagement of the senses to serve Krishna in order to get to bhava, prema, realization. So we do use material mind and senses, etc., in the service of Krishna. And the danger is that an artist can take over and then the whole thing becomes material. So there's always the balance that we have to have. Yes, these are activities using the material senses. But the other point is that the basic definition of bhakti is cultivation of faithful relationship with Krishna. Anukriyana Krishna Nusilana. That's the very basic principle of bhakti. Then we have the definition of sadhana, engage your senses, whatever like this. So if we just engage the senses, but we don't have Krishna Anusilana, then it becomes negative. So along with the activity that we're doing of engaging our tongue or whatever, we do have to remember that ultimately we are cultivating a loving relationship with Krishna, which becomes rasa eventually, apart from the engagement. So we're doing it through the senses, but the idea is we're trying to cultivate an affectionate relationship with Krishna. And if we take that out of it, then it becomes mechanical. So this is the problem. We can just get stuck on the mechanical aspects of it and it becomes material. And then we lose the whole idea of cultivating a relationship with Krishna, which is the real important part. So the two things have to always be combined somehow or other. We always have to remember that we're cultivating an affectionate relationship with Krishna. And we're doing that, chanting his name or whatever. And if we understand that and try to do that, then all of the different activities we do will become less mechanical.
Very nice, Maharaj. Thank you. And in continuation to this question, quite some time back, a relative in my family, she's not Hare Krishna. I mean, she doesn't do chanting or anything, but she accepts Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she asked this question to which I had no answer. And I'm sorry in advance, Maharaj, if it may seem a little offensive. She's saying, why is it all the time you people, kirtan, glorify Krishna? On one end, he is, Atmaram, he's totally renounced. And the other end, you're all the time glorifying. And then similarly, all those who are connected with Krishna, Guru Parampara, your Guru, Prabhupada, and Vaishnavas, glorifying. And she contrasted it with Lord Shiva. She's saying he's also Vaishnava, but why not so much glorifying? So it looks as though it is, you people are a bunch of psychopaths. And she made a remark Maharaj, like y'all are like the Chinese, Chairman Mao said this, Chairman Mao said that, and you're just parroting it. Yeah. So what is the proper understanding and an explanation to this kind of a thought, Maharaj?
Well, it has, as you said previously, it can become mechanical. So it can become mechanical and it can just be repetitive, just like you're a parrot repeating something, whatever. So yes, the glorification itself can become a materialistic endeavor also if we're not careful. So we always have to be careful that behind this is the actual attempt to establish a relationship with Krishna. And we're doing that through glorification, etc. Now, of course, glorification is not simply for Krishna that we're doing it. If we go to the Shivites, they're also glorifying Shiva. It's not that they're not glorifying him. You go to the dedicated Shivites, they're always glorifying Shiva. You go to the Shiva scriptures, they're glorifying Shiva like anything. Huh? So it's not just the followers of Krishna. The followers of Ganesh will also be glorifying Ganapati and singing songs about Ganapati all the time and reciting stories about him or whatever. Those who worship Durga will have Durga stotras and whatever, Durga songs and Durga dances and whatever, all sorts of things for Durga Devi. So it's not just ISKCON. Any of these movements from India that are dedicated to a certain deity, they're going to have all this glorification. It's definitely there for everybody. The only people that won't do it probably will be those who are strictly into meditation, like the yogis or the gyanis. Instead, they will do meditation all the time. But we can give the same accusation to them. You're too absorbed in meditation, just sitting there meditating all the time. Why do you get absorbed in that? Just using your mind. Okay. What's the difference? Using your mind or using your voice? It's all absorption. So it's not, you can't just criticize like that. But the idea, of course, as I said, that if it becomes mechanical and fanatical with no, let's say, theological basis of scripture, no understanding, and no devotion, yes, then we can criticize that. It becomes fanatical at that stage. So we do have to have some knowledge of the books, and we do have to try to inculcate that bhakti within everything we do.
Got it. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare
In
Krishna.
that she accepts Krishna, that's good. So that's good for her. If she can't accept anything further, don't force her, but it's good. She can accept Krishna, at least let her hear kirtan all the time. That's all. As much as she can.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay. That's it. Any devotees here? Question.
Questions here? Can ask.
I have some audience here also. They may ask questions.
Maharaj,
No?
you can clarify, because you had explained very great detail. You can clarify, is the initiation is required or not required? Because
Is initiation required or not required? But of course, what does initiation mean? What do you mean by initiation?
I'm speaking
We
of
want
the
an ISKCON.
formal
If we want an
initiation.
ISKCON definition of initiation, we got two initiations. So which one are you saying is required? If we take a scriptural definition, there's only one initiation. That is getting the Diksha mantra from the Guru, which is like second initiation.
Right. Yeah, you can speak about that. Just like Prabhupada has taken from Bhakta Siddhanta Thakur, or Bhakta Siddhanta Thakur has taken from Gaur Kishore, like that. So let's take the example of Prabhupada taking from Bhakta Siddhanta. On that,
Diksha.
so
Diksha.
yeah, yes, yeah, first
Yeah.
and second.
So he took Diksha, he got mantra, he got the mantra for deity worship, same one we get. In other words, whatever we do in second initiation, those mantras came from Srila Prabhupada, he got them from Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, etc. So there's a parampara for those Diksha mantras, which is secret. So as I said, prominent in our sampradaya is Nam Sankirtan as the main element. We don't usually talk about chant your deity mantras today. No, we don't do that. Okay, we chant 3 times a day, 10 times or whatever. That's it. But the main spiritual sadhana and our most advancing will come from chanting Hare Krishna. So therefore, in that sense, the Diksha is not so important. It's part of Pancharatra, and in Pancharatra, they don't have Nam Sankirtan as the major element. So therefore, deity worship is the main element, and Diksha is very important. You have to have the Diksha because you have to worship the deity. It's the main element, the main activity you do in the Sampradaya. But in our Sampradaya, Lord Chaitanya has emphasized Nam Sankirtan. In that sense, the Diksha, not so important. Of course, if you want to do deity worship, which is one of the Angas of Bhakti, yes, you have to follow Pancharatra and take the Diksha. So in that sense, it is important for deity worship. But as for advancement, holy name is more important. And even if you don't worship the deity, even if you don't take diksha, you can advance by chanting the holy name. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta traces the Shiksha Sampradaya, not a Diksha Sampradaya, to emphasize the Shiksha and Harinam over Diksha and deity worship.
Thank you, Maharaj. Further, maybe a little more elaboration on the formal initiation. The first I'm talking about Harinam Diksha. So that also if we can explain a little more, add more clarity.
First initiation?
Yeah.
What is first initiation? Yeah. So it's a little bit yeah. There was only one initiation, Diksha, previously, even in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's talk. That is giving the mantra for deity worship. That was called Diksha. And there was no other ceremony at all. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur introduced a ceremony to encourage people to chant Hare Krishna, which he called Nam Dan, giving the name. And sometimes he would give a name like Krishna Das, Chaitanya Das, etc. at that time. So in our movement, then Prabhupada has called this first initiation. So it's an introduction to chanting the holy name. And in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's time, also, it was more or less an introduction because before that, they weren't chanting anything. So they were interested in the movement. So then he encouraged them, okay, you chant a few rounds, 2 rounds, 1 round, 4 rounds, or whatever. And they encouraged him and they gave him a name. But it was not called initiation. It was not called Diksha. But in ISKCON, we call it Diksha also. So it makes a little confusion because we have first and second initiation when there's technically only one initiation. So it's an introduction to chanting the holy name. But then this goes under further, there's a further complication in ISKCON because it's not just an introduction to chanting. We're chanting already. In fact, you have to chant 16 rounds already. So you're already chanting the name. So it's not giving the name at all. We already got the name from someone, some devotee, and we're chanting up to 16 rounds. So it's not even giving the name anymore. So more or less, it's become a ceremony to accept a spiritual authority. That's all. And it has its social and we could say somewhat, not, I guess you could say material aspects also. It gives you a status in the society. I'm initiated. So it's like, kind of you got to like getting a degree or something, like that. So it is, let's say, some sort of signpost of certain level of spiritual advancement or whatever like that. Of course, through that, you can establish a relationship with the guru, but you can actually do that independent of taking any ceremony of first or second initiation. You can establish a relationship with any devotee, a strong relationship, even without that ceremony.
One question.
The question here.
President, the thing is that as time progresses, are we saying that we become a bit like Ramanujacharya, Acharya, where we are effectively minimizing the role of successive acharyas? So Prabhupada becomes that kind of Ramanujacharya type of position.
Oh. So his question is that will our movement become like a Ramanuja Sampradaya or Madhva Sampradaya, who have paramparas of Diksha, etc., but they put great emphasis upon the founder. So Madhva Sampradaya, they do emphasize Madhvacharya, and in Ramanuja Sampradaya, Ramanuja gets very prominent worship and respect. So we don't know what the future is for ISKCON, but it's such a model, good or bad. In one sense, we can say it's good because those movements have lasted 1,000 years. They've lasted 1,000 years. Our movement has lasted 50 years. Their movement has lasted 1,000 years. And maybe one of the factors is because they keep that founder, Madhva or Ramanujacharya, as the main object of worship, apart from Supreme Lord. So that could be a factor rather than having, the great emphasis put upon the present living guru, your particular Diksha guru, etc. So, in other words, they give respect to their gurus, their Diksha gurus. Of course, the idea of Diksha guru is a little bit different also, but the respect given to Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya is much greater in all of those cases of an individual devotee nowadays. Is it good for ISKCON or not? We don't know, but it's a way of actually preserving the position of Srila Prabhupada within ISKCON. It could be a way of doing it by, having a similar type of attitude or inculcating that in everyone. And will also keep the movement together as it's kept together in the Madhva Sampradaya or the Sri Sampradaya. It could be a factor.
But to get connected to a parampara, just say.
So he's talking about the Shiksha Guru and the Diksha Guru. So he's saying, well, to get connection to the parampara, we need Diksha. But actually, if you look in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada does not trace a connection with the Diksha at all.
Okay.
He traces a Shiksha parampara. It's not Diksha at all. So then why does Prabhupada do that? It's not bona fide. It must be bona fide. So there is a parampara through Shiksha as well as Diksha. You could trace either way. So we can trace back, the different, like Gorkishore Das Babaji. Well, he had a Diksha parampara also, but we don't trace that. Gorkishore, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda, they have their Diksha parampara also. I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur's goes through Nityananda line, through Janava Devi's line, like that, something like that. So they do, but we don't trace it. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Prabhupada would prefer to trace a Shiksha line. So either are there, but they prefer to go through the Shiksha rather than the Diksha line. So they put emphasis on the Shiksha over the Diksha. So that doesn't mean we reject the Diksha line. We do, but as I said, we can trace each line of each individual back with Diksha. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur preferred to trace a Shiksha line instead, which means that Shiksha is just important, if not more important. So we can stress Shiksha. It doesn't mean we reject Diksha, but the emphasis, again, is a little bit different. Lord Chaitanya took Diksha. Goswamis, Sanatana Rupa, they didn't really take Diksha as such. They got names. We don't know if they got mantra. I don't think so. But Gadadhar got Diksha, Advaita Acharya got Diksha, they gave Diksha, etc. So there's Diksha there also. They carried on that process. We can say why, because you really don't need it. Just chant Hare Krishna and get the teachings from Bhagavatam, etc. That's not. One reason, of course, is because maybe they want to do leading worship. Second, of course, is we want to continue a tradition of what people did previously. Other sampradayas also trace proper lines through Diksha, so let it also go on within Buddhism. That reason also. Within Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all its Diksha lines and stuff, Goswami lines, caste Brahmanism, and so many things are popping up. They said, okay, forget about it. Let's just trace a Shiksha line where we get prominent acharyas in the line. Hare Krishna, yeah.
It's the same in one of the Puranas that the impact of the mantra is far more powerful. So does that apply only to the Diksha mantra as per the description of
So the question is, the mantra should come from the lips of Guru, then it has its power. So these statements from scripture are definitely there. And it's applying to mantra. That is the Diksha mantra. Because you definitely have to get that from the Guru, and you cannot tell that mantra to anybody else. So you're not going to know the mantra unless the Guru gives it to you. And it remains its power. And if you reveal the mantra, it loses its power. In fact, you shouldn't even show your japa of the mantra. You have to cover off like this and put it in the bead bag or something. You have to hide it because the Gandharvas are going to steal the result or whatever. So it's a very secret mantra given by the Guru. And it maintains its power by that given through the Guru, etc. That Shakti given by Guru. So that's our mantras. But holding the name, no. Achamil chanted the name Narayana because he simply named his son Narayana. He didn't get a diksha or anything to say the name Narayana. In fact, he had no faith in Vishnu at all. But he knew the name Narayana, so he named his son Narayana. And what was the effect? It destroyed all of his karmas. It had power in it. And that's this accidental chanting of the name. So if we chant intentionally, of course, we can do more than that. And we chant with devotion and knowledge, then we can get prema. But it doesn't depend upon getting it from a Diksha Guru or whatever like that. This is stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita itself by Lord Chaitanya. It doesn't depend on Diksha. Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Pranam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Maharaj. Maharaj, the name given during the Diksha time, name given by our Guru is like our eternal name, Maharaj.
Is it our eternal name? What could be? The Diksha name is part of the Diksha process. Of course, the main thing is to get the mantra, but there's something called Pancha Samskar, in which you get a name, you get tilak, and you maybe worship the deity, etc. So the 5 elements. One is getting a spiritual name. Huh? So, but that may not be your ultimate sarup or your siddha deha or whatever in the spiritual world. We see that Gadadhar Pandit has got a name like Vishnu, but actually he's Radharani. So the associates of Lord Chaitanya and all that, they have different names or whatever, but actually some are cowherd boys, some are manjaris, some are sakis or whatever. So the names don't actually correspond to their spiritual position in many cases. That's for the Siddha devotees, Lord Chaitanya's associates. So similarly, even for us, it may not be our actual spiritual names, because the male devotees are going to get male names. Names of Krishna or Vishnu are great devotees, but they may be Sakis in the spiritual world. They may be Manjaris if they take the Madhurya Rasa. So there'll be different names in that case, completely different names.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Multiple, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for this wonderful class. Maharaj, in a multi-guru society as ours, how do we stop or minimize guru groupism or schism which is formed because of that?
How do we stop guru groupism? Well, that's the big question that the GBC is trying to deal with. And we made these different statements about, putting Prabhupada in the center, and, Prabhupada's position is much higher than any of the Diksha gurus, etc. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe we have to do more. Maybe, and of course, we have educational courses. The disciples will not have to take the disciple course, which they try to teach them don't have guru groupism. In spite of that, still they may do it. So, many attempts are there. Maybe we have to make more attempts, many. Maybe we have to change the whole process of Diksha, which is radical to do. Most people don't want to do that, but we may have to change something in the whole process even, so that devotees understand what is happening, what they're getting their Diksha, etc. So, and many things we can do. I can't say what is the best thing to do. We can make more statements, we can give more education, etc. But we could change the way we do Diksha a little bit more. We can educate the gurus more. So many things we can do, but it takes a little time to do also.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. I also have another class now anyway, so I have to end.
One more question, if you have time. But this can also become a retreat.
For the next class,
If you can explain.
6:45 or 7.
Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Well, I think Maharaj left. Okay. Good. Thank you very much for joining. Please join for Sunday feast program today evening. We have 5 to 9 p.m. And upcoming festival is September 11th, Radhastami, which is a weekday, Wednesday.
Also,
Yes, go ahead.
coming Wednesday, September 4th, in the evening from 7 to 9, we have His Holiness Swami Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj's class of, let me also tell you the topic. Demystifying Hinduism. That's from 7 to 9 by His Holiness Swami Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj at our temple from 7 to 9 p.m. That's coming Wednesday, September 4th. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So please join, as Prabhu said. And yeah, Radhastami festival, we can try to offer at least 108 items or more. It's depending on our cooperation, working together. We can try to celebrate as much as possible, as grand as possible. Next Ekadasi is after that, September 14th, Paswa Ekadasi. Yeah, see you all in the evening for Sunday Feast program. A special speaker, you have to come to attend, and then you'll know who is the special speaker. Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll end the session here. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnava ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare